Hey, y'all. How you doing?
All right, man. How are you doing?
Oh, just dandy. I'm playing with all my stuff here, having fun with it. Looking forward to chatting with what we have done for today's podcast. So I'm looking forward to that.
So I guess we're going on a picnic?
Yes, we are. I almost was going to try to do it outside, but the weather here is still kind of not the best. And I haven't taken out my summer furniture. And I was like going, you know what, this is going to be more of a pain than anything else. So I just opted to do it from the office like I normally would. So here we are. Well, yes, picnic time.
So the idea of today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is picnic time with a flask.
Yes.
Picnic time with a flask, all right. And I mean, I was watching the movie last night, The Founder, about Ray Kroc and starting of McDonald's into a chain.
Okay.
And I actually tried to count how many times, because I know Ray Kroc was an alcoholic in life, and Ray Kroc had a serious problem with alcohol, and I tried to count how many times he had a drink in that thing, and several times I recall him with a flask in hand.
That's funny.
So the flask is not something new. The flask is something old. I think we're going to have different drinks we have into it. So I've got 2 flasks. I think you have two, don't you as well?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
So, here.
2 flasks. Now, each one has different stuff into it, depending on what I want to drink.
Right.
But what I normally use my flasks for is I almost always have Sambuca in it for my coffee.
Yes, we've had that conversation.
Today I don't have Sambuca into it because the idea of the show was being outside with a picnic and what would I drink on a picnic.
Right.
But Sambuca is kind of something we always have in a flask. We almost always have it in my truck, and I can take it into almost any coffee shop, add it to my coffee. Sambuca in my espresso in the morning is kind of a really good thing. Not that I'm that much of an alcoholic that I have to have alcohol in my espresso every morning. Usually it's only on weekend mornings. So
very cool. Well,
I mean, but I did put things in my flask today that I would have on a picnic. This one here, which I got from Crystal Ridge Distillery in Arkansas, which is a moonshine distillery, and it has some of the last I have of my Tim Smith's moonshine is into it. So, yep. All right.
Gotcha.
All right. And then my other one, which is one that Gwen got me one year for Christmas. It's my American flag one. All right. I love my American flag one. And this one here, I just have some normal whiskey that I would drink. All right. What do we all think that is?
Moonshine?
Huh?
Moonshine?
No, this one here's moonshine. What whiskey, what bourbon whiskey would I put in this one? Buffalo Trace. Yep. So how about you? What do you got in your flask first?
So this one's the Wicked Harvest farmer-owned, crafted by nature. So in here, I have vodka because vodka is very versatile. Sorry, the vodka's in this one. The one that has nothing on it. I don't even, I mean, this is a stainless steel 6 ounces. So 6 ounces fit in here. I've had this for a while, but I don't know where I acquired it. This one in here, I have some Wild Turkey 70 whiskey in here. So this was their 70th anniversary. So I put that in here. But this one with the vodka, I was like, oh my goodness, I've had this for a little bit. I don't even remember when I filled it. The other one that I no longer have, I had a little bladder that was a flask that was silicone. That was my Buffalo Trace. And that one is the one that I would use when I would do overnight camping. It was perfect because it didn't have, these have weight on it, stainless steel. Whereas the other one didn't weigh as much. And once you drank what was in it, it weighed very little. But it was easy. You could throw it in the backpack. It was great. And then when you were having your hot cocoa or your coffee, you can just add a little bit of your whiskey in there, which was great. I really like that. And the reason I did whiskey is because whiskey is just easy. And you can combine it with
a lot of things.
Yeah. Or just drink it like that. The reason I have the vodka is because vodka is very versatile. Now, with vodka, so there's various ways that you can make your drink, if you will. One of them is using mason jars. I love mason jars. You can, just close it off. There you go. But mason jars, there's a little bit of weight to them. The other thing you can do is your
The
red.
solo cup, yeah.
This one is from Breakside, so that's one of the runs that I do with my brew crew, Run for Beer, Oregon Brewery Run Series, so Breakside. The other thing you can do is, of course, your little plastic cups, which are reusable, which is great. And then the last way, which is the easiest way, in my opinion, is that you have your little koozie here. This one is from the Dirty Dash, so it's like we play dirty. And you can keep your, in this case, my berry LaCroix, or LaCroix, or whatever you want to pronounce it. You can take a few sips out of it, and then you just pour your vodka into your drink. Or you can pour your drink into your solo cup or into your mason jar, and then add your alcohol to it. So you have various ways. This is a great way, especially during the summer. It's hot out. This will help keep your drink cold. You can also add one of these to your mason jar. But if you have something like this, it's going to get warm, and most of the time when you're at a picnic, you may or may not have ice. It just depends on the type of cooler. My cooler is not like this one's my carry bag where I have everything that is non-refrigerated, if you will. So all my plates, here I have from Cafe Yum, all my
you have silverware.
Yes.
I was doing today's I was doing picnic without silverware, but yeah, go ahead.
So this one, Race Camp Cheers. So I did a race last week, and this was one of our gifts. I actually have a little mug that came with it because they gave us coffee and they gave us pancakes, and so we were able to use this. It does have a serrated blade right in there, and the other thing that's very important is a bottle opener right there. So usually I have my little bottle opener. This one happens to be from Pacific Source. I have a bunch of these, which always I love them because then they can stay on the bag, and that belongs. This stays here, so I don't have to think about throwing one in there. And then this newer one, I love this because I have the spoon on one side, the fork on the other. And then, of course, this one is my insulated one. So that one has some insulation, but it's not your normal, cooler like your Igloo or anything like that. And it has a little pocket in here. And so, of course, it has my Be Well right here. And this is from 31. It's a brand. It was, I got this years ago. One of my friends was like, I'm doing this home show. Okay, so I got these two, and they have gone on a lot of picnics with me because I love picnics. I've even done picnics in the winter when it was raining. I wanted to have a picnic, didn't realize it was going to rain that day, and I'm like, I'm going on my picnic. And so what, I have my things that I like to take on a picnic. What are the things that you like to take on a picnic?
So again, I went today with an idea that I'm not going to use spoons or forks. I was kind of like the sandwich and stuff ideas. So number one, I have a sandwich that I have here with on ciabatta bread, ham and Swiss, that I just toasted the bread, put the sandwich together, and then I set it in here with some mustard on it. The second thing is if I'm doing it here at the house, or I'm doing it someplace where I'm going to do a fire, I would have hot dogs with me. Hot dogs and buns, ketchup, mustard. That's all I really need on that. And then if anything fails onto it, basically, you can always have these wonderful things that you can buy as a great little snack pack. These are called Lunchables, right, from Oscar Mayer. And this one here is turkey and American cheese with crackers. A great little sampler pack to sample on. And then I put them in a bowl because it was the bottom of the bag. Potato chips, ladies and gentlemen. Right.
I have potato chips, and here's the potato chips with the little. Yeah. What I love about this is that it doesn't weigh much, and it protects your chips from getting all crushed. So these, I will do this for travel. So this could be a travel one for me. I'll throw it in the backpack. It's being protected because when I travel, I have my laptop in there and then other stuff. And so this is just going to get thrown in there, and it's going to go through TSA. So I want my chips protected. You leave them in a bag, they're going to be all crushed. So I really like this. And in the end, if there are items that need to be transported back, this is one great way. The chips are going to be gone at that point, so that works out very well.
I usually take the. I usually go with the Ziploc bag.
Yes,
Same
I do.
concept.
Got that here.
Mhm.
The other thing that I forgot to mention is that you can have, this one was from another race. I have a lot of stuff from races, but it says my happy hour and it's got the running. So that's usually my happy hours when I'm running, but it is a great one that you can, it was from the Dundee Hills, but this is one that will keep whatever you have hot or cold. So this is another one great for camping or for a picnic. So that way, if you have anything hot or cold, it was going to stay here. And then of course I have my, if you're doing shots or if you're going to measure plastic ones. So those are some of the things that I have used. I mean, these are things that I truly do use myself. These things are great.
I was thinking along the lines, if I'm out on a picnic like that, I'm not taking all these extra cups. I'm taking and going to use the resources that are given to me, like the bottle. Like I would buy the bottle of orange juice, add the vodka to it.
Yep.
When I'm done, what do? I crush the bottle and I put it in the recycling bin.
Right.
Or when I'm done with it, I now use the one bottle that I brought with me. And that bottle now is add water as I go. All right. Add things as I do things. All right. And now I didn't have to come up with an extra package. So.
Right. And it all depends on what type of picnic you're doing and where you're going. I have done it where I was going to a winery and it was pack your own stuff. And so I had a full charcuterie that I had a board and I put plastic wrap over it. When I got there, I just unwrapped it. Everybody's all, well, you came prepared. I'm like, well, yeah, all I have here is wine that I could buy, but they weren't going to have any food. So I brought food because it was like a 7:00 movie that they were showing. And so we were like set. I'm like, plenty of food and then just got the wine there. It was perfect. But then if you're going to a park, then it's very different. How much are you going to be carrying? How much do you want to carry? Or are you going to be doing a hike and then at a picnic at the end of the hike? So there's a variety of different ways you can play it. Just what's your preference? What type of picnic? What are the resources? Do you have running water? Do you not? How much time are you going to be out there? So there's a lot of questions to ask yourself when you are prepping your items for a picnic. Anything charcuterie is always very easy for me. Today I went a little bit more indulgent and I tried a new bread, which I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. It feels too dense for me. This particular bread is Naked Organic Simple Sourdough.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gotten it before. It's not as soft as I like. I usually like softer bread. So we're going to see how I like it. But I'm making a BLT. And the beauty is with the BLT, you can actually either build it ahead of time and then have it with you. It's not going to get all soggy. It'll hold, especially if you have good bread, or it's easy enough to have all the items in a little one of these guys and then just build your sandwich when you get to wherever you're going. If you're on a hike and you get to the lake and you're going to sit there for a little bit, you build your sandwich or your chips out.
Or everything in Ziploc bags, fold the Ziploc bags up and reuse them later.
Yes, because whatever you're taking in, you're going to take out. So you want to take your trash with you. So that's one of the things is that I never anticipate having a trash can, although I hope I do have one. Mm-hmm. You can't always expect one. And so that's important to keep in mind when you are doing any kind of picnic. Always expect to have a trash bag with your Ziploc, whatever it is, to whatever you take in, you bring back out.
Well, that is one of the things I like. I like about using grocery store bags, plastic bags. I always keep a bunch of them around because they become great trash bags when you're on a trip. Because you put everything inside of it, tie it in a knot, and still carry it out in your cooler.
Right.
And all your trash is just compacted and carry out with it. I think the biggest lesson I want to put into this is if I'm going on a picnic or a hike, is I want to be responsible and not be a litter bug. All right.
Right.
And I know our modern ways of doing things, we have everything's wrapped in plastics or wrapped in things, whereas a lot of our grandparents or great grandparents had everything wrapped in a cloth and they took the cloths back home with them. Yeah.
Yes. So I made my BLT here. When you're cutting a tomato, make sure you use a serrated knife. It's just much easier. I also have peanut butter and jelly that I could have as a dessert, or I also have chocolate. So chocolate, it depends on how hot it is. Again, chocolate does melt. So if you are doing chocolate, just know, depending on how hot it is, I was going to get one of those little pies, a cherry pie or a lemon pie. And I said, I don't know if it's going to go with what I have. But that would be something that's easier. That's not going to melt on you. And then the other thing is fruit. I love fruit. So again, my mason jars. And then I have the grapes in here and raspberries because I had the grapes already. I bought the raspberries. They were on sale. I already had the chocolate. And then with my BLT, of course, you have to have chips. And of course, I have my little plates that I use. And I love these easy to carry. They're not going to break. If I drop them, it's like, and if something does happen to them, they were very inexpensive. So I love that. Or you can just go with your good old fashioned paper plate because then you can just fold them and throw them in the bag and trash them. And you don't have to worry about dishes. You don't have to worry about weight because these, even though they're light, they still have more weight than
more weight to them, yeah.
Yes.
It all depends on if you're hiking or just going to the neighborhood park.
Correct. Yeah. What is it that you're doing? Again, it all depends. My bags here, I won't take those on a hike. I'm not. And so it's going to be in my backpack, in my pack that I'm going to be wearing. So if I'm going to go on a hike, this is what I'm going to take. And I'm going to add my my vodka to it. Or if I'm going to the park, then I'm going to take this little guy because it's a lot more fun to sip out of here than it is to sip out of a can. My mama, that was one thing. She wouldn't mind drinking a beer out of a can, but she did not want to drink it out of the can. So she wanted the beer in a glass, and so but she would drink it out of, if it was a glass bottle, that she would do. So it was very specific. The other thing that I usually will do at home, this time I just grabbed it because is I have my little cheese here. I have two different types of cheeses. I have the pepper jack as well as a cheddar. And then I also have a summer sausage. That's
now, would you pre-slice that before you went?
I would. Yes, I would actually. Again, it depends on where I'm going, how long I'm going to be there. I like to pre-slice things and again put them in little containers or little baggies. That way, when I get there, I grab the crackers. Again, crackers would be in something like this so that they don't break. And then I would, do my little charcuterie on a little plate like this because for me that it just gives it a little bit of fun. I have pictures when I've been out at hiking and I just lay out my spread, and then of course I will have my paper towels or my regular towels, but paper towels are indispensable. Always take paper towels because these you can easily wet, wipe down, do whatever it is that you need. And it's just easy. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do today. And the fun part is, of course, I'm like going, okay, well, if I'm doing a BLT, I don't know that we've done BLTs on the show before, but, BLTs, they were first described in a cookbook in 1903. Now, it did not become popular until after World War II, when there was more diners that were out and about. And so it was 1940s, 1950s is when the BLT, and it was at the diners that they started putting BLT to say, okay, this is a bacon, lettuce, and tomato. And of course, I love to add avocado. So some people call it a blat. I'm not going to call it a blat. Mine is a BLT. So avocado, bacon, lettuce, tomato. Some people say, well, there's the bread. And then it's like, in the mayo, it's like, come on, it's a little much. But you can also add sprouts. You can also add fried egg. But really, when you break it down, Savor, it's one of the websites. It's the complete-ish history of the BLT. He goes into the history of the bread, which I thought was hilarious. But he did say that the sandwich did come from an Earl, that he was hungry, but he was also on a winning streak when he was gambling. And so he did not want a typical plated dinner. So they brought him bits of beef sandwiches between two slices of bread that he can eat with his hands. And so that's a part of, we'll blame the Earl for that. This guy went into the bacon going back to 1500 BCE with the Chinese, and then it became in the Middle English was when it was salted and pressed, and it's closer to what we have now in medieval England. And then he went into the lettuce, where lettuce was being used 2700 BCE. The Egyptian gods were using it for fertility. And then most people will put iceberg. I did put iceberg in here, but I have done green, like the green leaf or the red leaf. And sometimes if I have like a bag of sandwich, or sometimes I've done spinach in place of, so it just depends. And then of course the tomatoes, they were cultivated in Peru before it went to Central America and then Europe. So it's been around for quite a bit of time. So there was just like so much fun history there that I thought, you know what, that's kind of fun. So that's my tidbit of information on the BLTs. We're gonna see if I like this bread or not. So Naked, we'll see how you do.
Mm. To me, it's like all the different ideas you can come up with to go out in the woods. A BLT would be one of those things that you could pack in individual bags and assemble on the way. I was looking for a sandwich that I was going to do other than the hot dog, right? And what I decided to do today was I looked it up. I could go buy all the stuff. I could make a sandwich, but then I've got lunch meat that's going to be weeks before I finish it, all that stuff. So I went and looked for a sandwich that I could tweak into my own sandwich.
Huh?
I bought this ham and Swiss sandwich out of Starbucks cooler today. Brought it home. Now they offered to grill it for you because it's got butter on it. All right. And they in their stove. Said, nope. I came home, took it apart, laid the meat and cheese on a plate, took the bread and toasted it in my toaster oven. Then I added a spicy mustard to it that is left over from a Hickory Farms thing that I got. So like a horseradish mustard, and then put it all back together, and then cut it out like a regular sandwich. Had toasted bread. To me, it's coming up with what you're going to do for a sandwich that's going to go out there and it's going to savor and save the time of when you pack it. 90% of the time, that sandwich, because it was toasted the way it was, I could put it in a cooler for lunch and it'll be fine. Now, I wasn't looking to have the bread hot. I just wanted the bread toasted. Because if the bread wasn't toasted, the sandwich would get soggy if it sat in my cooler too long.
Right.
My tidbit.
It's so true. It is so true. You gotta think about those things when you are when you're going to be in a picnic. It's not like you could just leave it. It's what's going to work. And so it's fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm like trying to get all that glare out of my glasses because I always have glare.
I know. You have the glary glasses. I got the non-glary glasses.
Well, what I was told is that the reason they glare, I thought that the non-glare was there. I was told by iHealth Northwest that at a networking event that I do have the anti-glare, but there's also blue blocker because these are my computer glasses. And hence, and I'm like, well, yes, thank you for the blue blockers, but at the same time, I don't need this glare. So the anti-glare is it. Now, one of the things about doing this with the vodka is that you can also, because this is a berry one, you can also add the berries in here. The only thing is, of course, when you're drinking it, it might, clog up your little drinking space here. It might go in there. So that's the only thing.
If you're out with a flask, do you share your flask with friends? Or you only pour?
I usually only pour. But it all depends. There's times where it's like, if I'm with certain friends that we're out camping, then it's a pour. Mm-hmm. But if I'm with other friends that we've known each other, then we're gonna share.
Okay, so if I'm out with Gwen, my wife, I might share. Probably if I'm out with Gladys, I might share. But if I'm out with a group of friends, yeah, we're pouring into cups.
Yep. So it depends. It depends.
And I have a brother-in-law who thinks, well, it's alcohol. It kills all the germs.
Still no. Well,
and that's the last of my Tim Smith moonshine.
Well, the spread is not too bad. It's fine. But the edges are kind of, I don't know. I would rather have it toasted. So that's the one thing is that I do like my bread toasted when it comes to this type of bread. If it's a really soft bread, I don't need it toasted. But certain breads like this one with naked, I think it would taste better toasted.
I don't think I've ever wanted a BLT that wasn't toasted bread.
Well, going out on a picnic, I'm not going to toast the bread ahead of time. At least I wouldn't. At home I would. But if I'm out, I just want naked bread, just plain bread. Franz, I almost grabbed the Franz because the Franz had just a really nice bread that I do like, but I wanted to try this naked, organic, simple sourdough, and I don't know that I'd buy it again. It's just okay, but for the price, and even though it was on sale, that loaf was $4, which is like a little bit more than I normally would pay for bread myself.
Well,
but I love the way chips go with the sandwich. Do you ever put chips inside your sandwich?
mm-hmm.
If it's a ham sandwich, I love the chips in the middle if it's a ham sandwich. BLT, not so much. But the nice thing about pouring your vodka into the happy hour cup, mug, flask, is that you get to control how much is in there. Even on the other one, you can add more of the sparkle water in there. But these
reminds me of the George Clooney movie where he's up in the air.
Uh-huh.
And he gets the soda on the plane or whatever, and he's like half out of it, and she's the cancer. He goes, "Excuse me? Do you want the cancer?" "I'm sorry, what? Do you want the can, sir?"
Sure.
Anyway.
Okay. The what?
But yeah, it's and I've done that before where basically I'll get a Bloody Mary mix that has a screw on top.
Mm-hmm.
Drain a little bit, just drink a little bit out, pour the vodka, or the amount I want out,
Mm-hmm.
add the vodka I want to it. And now I've got a cap, I've got a shaker right there on the spot.
Right.
So
I'm going to do something I don't normally do, but I'm going to go with my PB&J.
Yeah.
Not overly sweet. It was Adam's peanut butter. Creamy, although I prefer chunky, but I have creamy. And then it was strawberry jam. I had a huckleberry habanero. I thought that was going to be a little too strong for what I wanted to do. I wanted just something fun. So does that go?
There are two kinds of sandwiches that I will go to as staples. Like if I need to eat cheap, all right, and get the most nutrition I can have. One of them is a peanut butter and jelly. Because I could buy a cheap loaf of bread that is good quality bread, make the sandwiches up, all right, and keep the ingredients for a long period of time until I finish them. The other one is tuna fish. You can buy cans of tuna fish, but I will get a can of tuna fish and I will put the whole tuna fish and make whatever's like 2 sandwiches right there. Whatever's not on the 2 sandwiches, I will eat the rest of the tuna fish right out of the can. Why? I mean, a can of tuna fish is, I remember when I used to get 3 cans or something for $1. right? That was a meal by itself. The tuna itself was in such a way. I'm getting my assistant. My assistant is coming in. My assistant is coming to visit us and see and make sure he wants to make sure everything's on par here. Shall we bring him up?
Mm.
Do you approve? Look at him. Smiling, smiling, smiling. Is my grandson, everybody? Mwah. Go get your mama. Go get your mama. Ah.
I actually had tuna fish sandwich for lunch. That's what it was. But I actually learned about tuna melt. I was like, oh my goodness, I never thought I'd like tuna melt. But if you get some good albacore, oh my goodness, the best sandwich you're going to get with albacore if you get a good quality. The Kirkland albacore,
Yeah.
that is what I buy. And it's great. I actually have some salmon and something else that I got at an event, and it's all local. So it's all Oregon. So it was Camden. It was caught here, Camden, Oregon, everything, which is great. But the Kirkland is still my go-to. So I have a little bit of both in my pantry. So one of the things I did this time, because they didn't have the regular bacon, this one is a maple bacon.
Yeah.
It gives it a little, I don't know that I'm used to that. It was fun. I will say Kroger has their bacon at the butcher shop. When they have it for $5.99 a pound, I always get it because they have really good bacon.
Yeah.
It's actually thick cut, and you can get either maple, regular, or peppered. Although with the peppered, it's very peppered. So it's like this coating of pepper. You can always add your own pepper to the regular bacon and maintain a certain level. But if you're getting theirs, just know that it's over the top with the pepper.
It is one of the things I want to learn to do with my smoker is buy the bacon and smoke it myself. And then, you know what I mean? And then after I smoke it, slice it and cook it to put the flavor in. Because I'm like, it's one of those things I'm like, one of these days I'm going to try it.
This is actually not bad. I like this. This is different. A little bit more dense bread. That's one of the things. Sometimes you want to have just a really good bread, especially if you're making it at home, that you can then toast on the stovetop instead of the toaster. And you could put like a clarified butter, ghee, or you can use good old Hellman's or Best Foods mayo to heat it up and toast it, and it just gives it an added delicious flavor. Well,
or you can be like, what was that? What was Elwood on the Blues Brothers, where he just always had white bread and he had white toast. I think he did it on a Bunsen burner.
That is a good idea. Yeah, you can always do that. Bunsen burners are very useful when you're out camping.
Which gives me, I mean, part of one of the reasons why I want to do this subject was this is an innovative way of thinking. How do I party? How do I eat? How do I drink? How do I enjoy the time? Because a lot of this is creativeness, depending on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You're going out to the woods for 2 days. Do you want to actually build a fire to cook your stuff on? Do you want to carry a cooler with you, all right, to be able to keep your meat cold until you're ready to cook it, right? Do you want to have all that? What do you want to do? And it's all about how creative you want to be based on what you want to do.
Right. When I have done the overnight, I have my snacks, absolutely, the snacks. But when it comes to the meals, they're in those packets that you just have to add water to it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have your little container where you have your water. I mean, you always want to be in a spot that you can get fresh water. And then you turn on your burner and it just heats up the water, and then you put it into your container. Mm-hmm. The other thing you can do with that, in the morning, you get hot cocoa. I usually use abuelitas, but you put the hot cocoa and then instant coffee. And so now you don't have to worry about cream or sugar. It's the hot cocoa. It's sweetness.
It's a mocha. Yeah.
You have a mocha, and you add the water, and you're good to go. And if it's if you're going to be lazy for a little bit, then you can add some bourbon whiskey in there. It's okay too. Or you can just do the hot cocoa, special hot cocoa, before you turn in for the night, under the stars. And again, just all you need is hot water.
But so there's a lot you can do if you have a container to heat water. All right. And you can carry minimal food in. Believe it or not, if I'm going out someplace and I've got to survive for a period of time and I need a minimal amount of food that I have to carry with me, packets of oatmeal, packets of grits, right? The peanut butter and jelly, the cans of tuna fish. You think about that. The can of tuna fish, you bring something with you that you can cut it and open it, and then you have a container you can cook with on top of a fire, and that container will deal with whatever fire you're going to deal with, right? But you take something that you can boil your water in, and you know what I mean. The smallest amount of fires will boil your water, and you add oatmeal. You can add add grits, things like that will be very sustainable for a breakfast. All right, to get you going without having to cook a big eggs and bacon and carry the eggs in and not have to.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was going to do that, I would not carry eggs. I would actually scramble eggs, put them in a sealed container, and pour.
I have done that.
No.
There's so many ways. It just depends, again, as Tim said, how creative are you based on the type of picnic you want to do.
Yeah.
And I've even done picnics outside on my patio. I've done that because they're fun. I love picnics.
Mm-hmm.
Picnic foods. It's just, I know something about a picnic and having, one of the things that I didn't bring out was my, I have a plaid picnic cloth that I love being able to use. It just gives it, you throw it over whatever it is. If it's a table, at a park or whatever, it could be a rock at the river, it just gives it a certain flavor of fun. It's like rustic. It's called rustic.
We've got them here at Tractor Supply. They're like a pillow that's zipped up, and inside of it, it folds out to a blanket that you can use. All right, but it's can deal with the weather, so it can get wet, things like that. But it makes me remember some of the picnics we've had in my lifetime. I remember two of them in particular. I remember one of them was as a child. My mom's best friend at the time, and her son was my best friend. So my best friend growing up was Tim Schweinsberg, who I'm still very, very good friends with, and his mom. Well, his mom and my mom got along well. They both had a lot of kids, so basically they would do activities together. And they decided to do a picnic one day at the Schweinsberg's house. And at the time, all of the trees around their house were tiny trees. They had one tall tree, and it was up around the back of the garden. And Tim basically had this his dad had this old Ford tractor, and he loaded everything up on the flatbed of the flat tractor and took us all the way up and had it set up. And it started raining. Literally, we threw everything on top of the. Your camera just went out. We threw everything on top of the flatbed, ran it back down the house. And I just remember it because we were all the way out there, and we were so far from the house. And his mom goes, "How come we're so far away?" And she said, "Because he says it's the only tree we've got in the yard." Oh, here comes Gladys back now. So
I could hear you the entire time. I just, I know it's.
You blipped the button. Anyway, that was one picnic I remember as a child. All right. Another picnic I remember was I was really close with my best friend in high school. His name was Jim, and his first wife, Donna. All right. I'm still close friends with Donna till this day. Jim is really not on any social networks or anything like that. He's just the type guy he is. But I mean, I stopped by to visit him after his parents passed, and still just like old times. We're still friends. Just because of social media, we don't see each other, and he still lives where we grew up. But Jim and his girlfriend, Donna, who was his first wife, I actually rented a room from Donna's parents after my parents moved back to northern Pennsylvania. And because I stayed there and I needed a place to stay, their parents had a room in their attic that I could rent. So I was very close friends with them. And Donna's like, "I'm going to take a picnic because Jim gets so much for lunch. We're going to take a picnic. Come on, let's go with me. Let's do this picnic together." So we planned it all out, Donna and I, for me, Donna, and Jim to go have a picnic around the corner from his work. Right? Picked him up at work. and had sandwiches, had everything laid out. I don't think we had beers because Jim had to go back to work. All right, but I think we may have had alcohol, but I don't think we did because Jim had to go back to work. So, but that would have been my adult picnic. Yeah.
Well, I do remember, now that you say that, you reminded me. When I was in Southern California, one of the jobs that I had, every about 3 months, we would do a team lunch.
Yeah.
And so we would, instead of the half hour, we would do about 45 minutes, 50, and we were, it was fine. It was all of us, so we knew exactly where we were. There was a park that was around the corner from the building of where we worked. So somebody was in charge of drinks, and one of us, usually me, were in charge of picking up chicken. So we go to Popeye's chicken because that's what they wanted. So we pick up the Popeye's chicken, a bucket or a bag, whatever, bring it over, and then we'd split up the chicken. We'd have our drinks, non-alcoholic, of course, because we're going back to work. And we just chit chat for a little bit. We get on the swings or get on the slide, and then we go back to work. It was a slightly longer lunch, 45, 50 minutes. Sometimes we push it to an hour, but that was like so much fun to do a picnic in the park in the middle of a work day. It was just like the best feeling every about 3 months. It was just a way of reconnecting as a team, getting out of the building and just doing something fun. So that was like that. I had not even thought about that till you said, that adult picnic. And I went, oh my goodness, I remember that. I take my mom on a picnic sometimes, or they're just fun. Going to the beach and having a picnic on the beach. The only problem with the picnic on the beach, sand.
Yes.
You have to work around the sand and finding ways to not get sand in your food, because nothing worse than, having a gritty sandwich. Peanut butter will attract.
Peanut butter sand really doesn't go.
So that's more of a charcuterie, something that I'm usually like out of containers, is what I'm eating if I'm doing the beach. But I do remember as a kid, my aunt, we would make pitas. So the pita bread with the ham in it, the lettuce, tomato, and then those were wrapped up, and we would eat pita sandwiches at the beach in Santa Monica growing up.
Wow.
I remember that. Yeah, so just, and then chips, of course, because chips. And then I remember the Capri Suns, put the straw into the Capri Suns. So just fun things. So I think for me, picnics are just nostalgic. It's just a rustic way of enjoying nature.
Well, each one of them, for you and me to sit here and find a picnic for our audience, we can't. All we can do is things we think about on a picnic.
Right.
Your experience is entirely different than ours. It's the whole objective of what we do is for you to find yours.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So my sparkling water berry went very well with my BLT. It went well with my peanut butter and jelly. I was not sure if it was going to go well. And I think because it's berry and strawberry, I think it blended well. It went well. And then, of course, having my raspberries with grapes, it went well. So all 3 items went well with my sparkling berry and vodka. Cool. What I did not try was my whiskey with my BLT, because that's gone, and my PB&J is gone. So that's going to be my after dinner or after picnic drink. Oh. And I think it would go well with the intense orange of the dark chocolate. So I'm going to do that as my last item.
Some of the things I was going to do today. So I got some more nothing bundt cakes, which I've had them on the show before. Yep. I got more of them, but I just decided not to put that on. It's just too much. The one thing that I never could take on a picnic, but I always want for dessert, is an ice cream sandwich. But I'm not taking that on a picnic because depending on how long you're out there, it can be a very, very, very sweet sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing that you could take is if you chill them right, is a pudding cup.
Oh, yes.
Like a chocolate pudding cup. All right. Same thing. All right. You just take your spoon out, you eat it. It's not ice cream, but it's a pudding cup. You know what I mean? And pudding is really, really well on a picnic as well.
The other thing you can do is Greek yogurt, that you freeze Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because I really want the other things I wanted to do was a salad. All right. We just didn't do the salads. All right. Usually, almost always, we have a salad in our refrigerators that we can mix up and go. I think we have some tabbouleh in there right now, and I think we have we almost finished it up, so we're making fresh tonight. Is a beet kale salad that we almost always have in. But one of the things that we decided to do this summer is always have a bowl that we pull up and just add in and whenever we want. So, you went off screen again. She's a blinking. Let's see what happens.
I know. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. I did click on the camera. The camera's not coming back on, but I will see if I can get it to come back. But yeah, I don't know what the issue is, but I've been disconnected. So, it went to my integrated camera. That's what it was.
Okay.
For whatever reason, the settings went from my camera to my integrated camera on the laptop. Of course, the laptop is closed, so it's black. So the Lindt Excellent Intense Orange goes very well
with a shot of whiskey. Yeah. Which whiskey do you have tonight?
Wild Turkey 70. Okay. It's their anniversary one. And I think it goes well because when you make an old fashioned, you have orange in there. And it's just, I think in that dark chocolate, it's not very sweet. That's the loveliness of dark chocolate. And this is not even the most intense dark chocolate either. Yeah. It looks almost milk chocolatey to me. It doesn't look like a dark chocolate, but it has good flavor on there. I was trying to see the percent of, and there's almond in here, almond slivers. Yeah, so this, you would not want to take out on a hot day because you want to keep it at 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Now do you store your chocolates in the freezer or the refrigerator?
I should throw mine in the refrigerator just to keep it cold.
Well, no, I mean, I've done some freezer where you can freezer and then you pull it out. In this case here, I would have pulled it out. It'd been sitting on the desk for almost the hour before we ate it. So it would have warmed it up just enough that it would still have a core cold in the center.
Right. So that is about enough chocolate for my taste for one sitting. I went to dinner yesterday and it's like, oh, do you want dessert? And it's like, no, not really. And I said what the 3 desserts were. And I'm like, I'll just finish my drink over here. Thank you very much. This will be my dessert.
Wow.
My wine that was from dinner. It's like, no, thank you. I'm just not a big sweet person. Well, I'm not a very sweet person to begin with, but eating sweets, that's
cool. All right.
Give you a creme brulee. I wish I could take a creme brulee on a hike. That would be an indulgence, most definitely. But I'm not carrying all the stuff for it. So.
All right. Well, I mean, this has been a fun episode. I learned that there's a lot of things that I would take on a picnic, that more than I thought that I would take, and I would probably take more stuff to mix a drink than I would to just drink what's in the flask.
Right.
Especially the flask is just my mixing material.
There you go. And you got plenty of items that you can use again.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have your fruit in mason jar. You can pour the fruit out, and then you can just mix your item in here, and then you just sip on it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Mason jars are great, but again, you are carrying it, so there is weight to it. So, how long are you going to be walking to where you're going for your picnic?
That's the thing. You don't want to walk too much. So anyway, well, I mean, a fun episode, number 138, ladies and gentlemen, in the books. And this week's episode was a great one about lunch packs, flasks, camping, picnicking, all that stuff. So I hope you guys learned something this week. We had fun making it anyway.
Absolutely. This was
So,
fun.
I think next week we got another fun episode coming up next week. All right. A really good, shall we say, a really good twist that we're going to do.
Yes. Should we tell them at least what alcohol to get?
What alcohol? Hold on. I gotta get. So I have grape Gatorade, Kraken, and dark rum.
Yep. The funny thing is that when we decided on that, I already had grape Gatorade in my fridge, so I haven't touched it. And I happen to have Kraken, so I have both at home. So I was like, when you said that, I was like, yep, we're doing it. I got the stuff.
I forget. Do we have a food lined up with that?
Yeah, added the food to it. So we're going to be talking about that, y'all, and see what we come up with for next week. And we already know the following week. We do know what we're going to be doing the following week.
Yeah, the following week we're going to do We're going to do a yearly, one of our yearly things that we've done. I think this will be like the third or fourth year in a row.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not doing that next week. Maybe we'll switch it up a bit.
Nah, we got to do that in the last week. So I think next week was something to do with Gatorade Day or something.
It was because of Emerald Green.
Green, that's what it was. Yeah. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. Before we go, though, we're going to tell you about our business is what pays for this every week. There are two things that we actually do. Number one, we want to let you know that you have a way to connect with us on a regular basis. All right. It's called the Insiders Club. Go to likethewayyouDrink.com. You must be 21 to join. Our Insiders Club, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's us to give you recipes, give you inside information on what we do some drinking drinking events, all right, as well as invite you to private parties that we do. All right. You must be 21 to join, but it's free of charge to join. All you got to do is go sign up. It's our way, ladies and gentlemen, of building a list and doing something with you on a continual basis. So go check that out. All right. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, it is our business that pays the bills. And we always start every week with Gladys because she is the female in the group. Tell us about your business, Gladys.
I will as soon as I get back online. There we go. Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design, helping you become the employer of choice through providing employee benefits, because there's 101 different creative ways that you can attract and retain quality staff. What are those things? Well, if you go to insurancedesignpros.com on the upper left-hand corner, there is the white paper that is what this book is based on. The book, you can find it on Amazon. But you want to have a conversation to figure out what is it that would work for your business, go to enrollnoworegon.com and we can start the conversation. That is the calendar link for my calendar. And even if you're not in the state of Oregon, I will probably be able to guide you and connect you with a broker that is in your state that will be able to take care of you. So that's Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. And this is my co-host.
Hey guys, Tim Gillette. My business is Simple Easy Websites. We build websites for the small business, the entrepreneur, and solopreneur all across America. We've been in business now for 2 years. 2 years ago, we decided to start this as an extra venture. At the beginning, it started helping our coaching clients who didn't have websites, and now it's gone on to helping many more people. We have everybody from roofing companies to contracting companies to inspection companies to coaches, lawyers, doctors, all kinds of stuff that we're doing their website for them now. SimpleEasyWebsites.com. Go in there and get a consultation. We'll review your website, do an audit of it, and let you know how you can improve it. SimpleEasyWebsites.com. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week.
Thanks for being here, y'all.
Cheers. Yeah, I think we shouldn't we do it with the flasks this week?
Oh yes, where's my flask?
We should do the cheers with the flask.
I know. I'm so rude.
It's flask week. So anyway, cheers, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.